Man, oh man, guys, welcome back into Celtics Talk Weekly Post Game Live. I am your host, Rob Tain. Joined with me is all of my co-hosts, Franco, Justin, and Ian. You guys know the boys. Man, oh man, wow, the Celtics pull out a nail biter on the road in Madison Square Garden, 108 to 104. Things got a little chippy towards the end of the third quarter. Obviously, Jaylen Brown and Isaiah Hartenstein going at it after a hard foul. Celtics were up by as many as 14. Knicks then pushed the lead up to as many as 6. However, the Celtics were the ones followed by a late 11-1 run led by Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. They squeaked out a narrow win. We got a lot to dive into, a lot to talk about, a lot of different players to talk about, a lot of different points to talk about. However, I'm going to start us off
I was going to say, don't you guys miss this feeling? Doesn't the heart palpitations in your chest? Didn't you miss that feeling all off season?
Well, so this is like
absolutely not, Ian.
This is like
that's a lie.
Could this not have been any more like, oh my God, Boston Celtics, right? It was just, and again, it's the first game, so I liked what I saw, and we're gonna talk all about it. However, I'm gonna start with you, Justin. Your initial thoughts, right? You know the drill. Just the initial go around. What did you see? What did you like? Let's start off with what you liked.
I look, game one, right? I don't know. I really like Kristaps Porzingis just put up 30 points in a Celtics debut, the most points ever in a Celtic debut. That's never been done before, right? Evan Fournier sitting on the Knicks bench. That must have been, the infamous 0-13 game for him when he made his Celtic debut. But look, that couldn't have gone any better in terms of, you got a great win when the Celtics fell down 7. The Knicks started on a 26-11 run to start that fourth quarter, but Boston stayed right there. I really liked Knicks ain't going to make 23s a game. Like, that's rare, right? So, I like what I saw from the Celtics, especially game one. Jason Tatum on the attack tonight. We talked about that in the group chat. I love his mid-range game tonight. I like his shot selection tonight. I liked a lot of what I saw tonight. For that being just game one of 82, I like what I saw, Ian.
Yeah, I really, really liked watching Jason Tatum play basketball today. This is not the Jason Tatum that we've seen in the past, and I know it's the first game of the season, but he was looking different out there tonight. I mean, he was attacking to the rim. Last year, anytime he would attack to the rim, it would just hit off his leg and it would roll out of bounds. This year, he's attacking. His dribble moves are absolutely insane once he gets under the basket, and he's just finishing through everybody. I mean, he absolutely put Mitchell Robinson in a coffin today when it came to trying to play defense. So it was just a fun game to watch, and I don't think he took double-digit three-pointers, so that's always a plus.
Yeah, today was a really tough win on the road. It was a really hard team to face. New York is a very hard arena to play in. Madison Square Garden was bringing it. The Porzingis chants were immaculate, and the fact that he was able to respond to those was just great.
Even better.
I'm not really concerned about this team when it comes to the skilled teams, but when it comes to these tough, hard-nosed teams like the Miami Heat, the New York Knicks, the 4, 5, 6 seeds in the Eastern Conference, those are the teams that are going to give us the hardest battles. But after tonight's response, I'm feeling really confident for this season.
Yeah, honestly, this season, I was kind of inching on the line of having the Knicks be a 50-win team. You look at their record last year, and I would argue that their whole system and what their philosophy and what they're doing, this is the second year of this really iteration of their roster, a couple of new pieces over the summer. I believe that they'll be a little bit better this season to the point in which they could potentially be a 50-win team. So tonight, you look at this game, these are two potential 50-win teams going at it against each other, two pretty highly skilled teams who both have systems. Tom Thibodeau versus Joe Mazzulla, who, of course, under Brad Stevens and Ime Udoka in the past. But tonight, you really have to feel, you feel good if you're a Celtics fan. If you're the Celtics tonight, you don't feel amazing. You really don't feel amazing because there were so many flaws and issues throughout the game. The Celtics, it really felt like they controlled at certain portions of the game, but just could not break through and really grab a more significant lead than, I believe their biggest lead might have been 12, if I'm not mistaken. And it just felt like they were right at the brink of taking control. And right when they were at that brink, the Knicks would always make a run to get back into the game. So you have those issues just in the runs alone, but also at the end of the game, defensive rebounding and also just transition. There were a lot of opportunities the Knicks were able to generate right after the Celtics gained momentum that eventually sparked their runs. The Celtics, that you saw a couple of buckets where Celtics, they passed to the open man, they got the open shot they wanted. They either made or missed, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but they got the shot they wanted. They might have gained a little bit of momentum by making it, and then bam, the Knicks were right there on the other end of the floor, taking an attempt from three, taking an attempt under the bucket. So the Celtics, they certainly need to get better at transition, defense, defensive rebounding, all of that. But for the first game, first of 82, you really have to feel good that the Celtics came out with a win in this game, considering all of the adversity that they had to face on the road. The intensity level did feel almost the same as it did a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, rather, in New York when we went in there. And that was a double overtime game that we lost. And that was a game, too, that we felt like we kind of should have won. But tonight, we get them back and take the season opener in New York.
Jack.
Yeah, my mic's muted. Hi. I think one thing that really stuck out to me was I think at times we saw glimpses of like how good this defense can be, like how much of a threat Porzingis is. Like you could see how much it was, even if he wasn't contesting a shot or blocking a hand-on shot, he was still affecting the offense. And I mean, every player in that rotation, that starting rotation, I mean, there's not really a specific player you can come out and target. So it's definitely a promising start for me for the defense.
Yeah, I was high on this Celtics team big time. Not like that. Relax. Although I could be. But I big time. I mean, this Celtics team showed me a lot, and it kind of felt like in that fourth quarter when things were getting rough and the Knicks went on their run, because again, I loved Seamus' point. I'm high on the Knicks this year. I said it on the podcast. They're a tough team. They've been together for some time now. They know how each other plays. Boston, on the other hand, is a team that really hasn't been spent much time together. I mean, Drew Holiday's only been in town for about 2.5, 3 weeks. They said it on the broadcast that he's still living out of his hotel. So there's still some continuity for the Boston Celtics that need to grow. But back to my point, in that fourth quarter, we go down by 6, and it kind of feels like, okay, well, Brown's not going, and they're double teaming Tatum. Where do we go? And then in walks the 7'3" unicorn of a man named Kristaps Porzingis, who closes the game out for the Boston Celtics. So it's like, that is why we traded the heart and soul. That is why Marcus Smart had to be shipped off. Because last season, this Celtics team just simply does not win this basketball game. They just don't. So if you would ask me what I loved about this game, quite frankly, basketball is a game of runs. You blow some leads, that happens, right? It's not going to be perfect game one. What I loved is I saw Drew Holiday and I saw Kristaps Porzingis just continuing to make winning plays, just keeping the Celtics afloat, whether it was the 4 blocks, whether it was the big time threes, whether it was the steals, the deflections. Is just those two guys had their hands written all over this basketball game. And that brings me to the player of the game. And it could have gone two ways, but I had to give it to Mr. highest scoring Celtics debut in Celtic history, Kristaps Porzingis. Tonight, Kristaps, how about 30 points? That 8 rebounds, not 9, 4 blocks, 4 made 3-pointers in the Celtics 108-104 win. Kristaps was huge. Justin.
Yeah.
What did you like about Kristaps tonight?
I liked a lot of things about Kristaps, but first things first, I want to touch on a quick point really quick of what you just said. You mentioned how this is a game the Celtics might not win if it was last year. I think the reason for that was because tonight the Celtics shot 30% from three when, what was it, 10 of 39, whatever that math that you equates out to. The Celtics last year, when they weren't hitting their threes, it was game over for them. They had no shot at winning the game. Tonight, they only hit 30% of their threes, and that they did not let that dictate their game. They went at it defensively. They kept, you know what I mean? Like, they were getting great looks. They kept generating on both ends, and that's what kept them in the game. That defense to start the fourth quarter, Sam Hauser was in that lineup. The Celtics really fed off of each other very much so, off of those 4 blocks from Kristaps Porzingis, which goes into my next point about Kristaps. He's just so versatile. He can do anything at both ends of the floor. He's not just 7'3" for no reason. He uses his size to an advantage, both offensively and defensively. He missed a couple of mid-range shots tonight, a couple of those high post shots, which are normally his bread and butter, and I do expect him to hit those with fluidity as the season goes on. His three-point shot looked good. He hit this crazy three-point shot at the buzzer that he banked it home in the first half, I believe it was, and just coming down the stretch, as Franco mentioned, the FU Porzingis chance. Usually some players crumble in that situation. Kristaps Porzingis didn't, and if anything, it helped elevate his game. Get a little smile, little wink, little walk-off interview, and the Celtics are 1-0 this season, Ian. Huge game from Kristaps. Like I said, it's the most points in a Celtic debut in franchise history.
Yeah, he was huge tonight. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It feels like him and Tatum, like, just know how to play with each other already. Like, it feels like they've been playing with each other for years now. And it was just fun to watch. Maybe it's just because I never watched Porzingis play, like when he was in Washington or when he was in Dallas, but he looks absolutely incredible. Like, it's kind of crazy the fact that he's doing this at 7'3". We're seeing Wembanyama have his debut tonight. I mean, if Porzingis was coming into the league now, he would have as much hype as Wembanyama's having right now. And he's just insane to watch. And we had questions about the defense since we traded Robert Williams, like, who's going to be that rim protector? Well, Kristaps Porzingis had 4 blocks tonight, so I think we pretty much found the answer to who's going to be that rim protector.
Yeah, his performance down low was really huge tonight, and what we will notice is we'll probably touch on it later with we'll definitely get around to Luke Cornett. You haven't escaped us just yet. We'll but that his presence down low was immaculate, and what we talked about during the offseason or during the preseason during these games is JB and Giroux had an off night. They had 7 and 11, I believe, in points, but Tatum and Kristaps picked up. It's pick your poison with this team, and what Jaylen Brown and Giroux did was compliment them and allowed them to get those opportunities to score.
And can I, real quick, sorry, Seamus, just Rob. Real quick, and I'm going to send it back to you. I have it on Twitter. Chill with the Jaylen Brown hate, because quite frankly, outside he had a rough last three possessions. But I will say there's going to be so many games this year where Jaylen Brown is that guy for us. Rough first game, 11-6-5. He made winning plays. He had some tough moments, but don't get it twisted. He is still 1B on this squad.
I'm going to go back to Porzingis in a second, but Jaylen Brown, first of all, it's game number 1. It's game number 1. What is this, year 8 for Jaylen Brown? I know this is year 8 for Jaylen Brown because I started my page the first year in which Jaylen Brown was on the Celtics, and now it's year 8. So Jaylen Brown, we know what kind of player he is. We know what kind of flaws are within his game. And ultimately, the kind of team that we have right now, he's going to be needed. He's one of the core players, obviously. I mean, he was just awarded one of the largest, the largest NBA contract in history. So Jaylen Brown, yes, there are going to be some games where we see this. 4 of 11, 0 of 4 from 3, 11 points. But he also had 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal as well. And Jaylen Brown, again, he's very, very important to this team. But another player who is going to be very, very important to this team is a player we've been talking about already, Kristaps Porzingis. Okay, this could not have been the more perfect debut for Kristaps. I mean, first of all, it's against his former team, the New York Knicks. So you got that going for you. You got an entire city in New York who, people here, or I'm not in Massachusetts, but I assume all of you all are. New York, not exactly a liked place by those in Massachusetts where Porzingis is playing. And you come out with the F Porzingis chants. That's kind of like, I'm glad that fed him. I want players in Boston who feed off of that kind of stuff. And he did exactly that. I think we already have a moment of the season. Obviously, it's been one game, but we already have a moment of the season candidate, and it's him drilling that three that I believe was created. I don't remember who passed him the ball, but
I want to say it was a Tatum
team.
kick out.
Yeah. Tatum was driving to the rim, kick out Porzingis. There was no hesitation. There was absolutely no hesitation. When he released that three, I mean, who thought it was going to clank? And it didn't even hit net. It did not even hit net. And Kristaps Porzingis was a massive reason as to why the Celtics won this game tonight. Obviously, not a career high, franchise high, 30 points for the big man, but just the versatility that he brings to the Celtics on both ends of the floor, the perimeter spacing that he gives offensively, and then the length that he gives defensively. Not a ton of guys out there can provide both the way that he does, and that's going to be a huge, huge factor on this team all year long. And it's going to be philosophically, why they're able to win consistently all year long and potentially even win the finals in June when we really get down to it. But Porzingis, this could not have been a more perfect start for him. I mean, just going through the entire stat line, 30 points, 8 of 15 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3, 5 of 9, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, 10 free throw attempts. That's pretty sizable for a guy who shoots primarily from the perimeter and isn't really known to be that guy around the rim. 10 free throw attempts tonight, and also to go along with that, 8 rebounds as well.
I was watching. I remember I was watching the game. I was sitting on the couch, and I made a comment. I was like, you know what? And this is no disrespect at all, but I was like, you know what? I'm starting not to miss Marcus Smart as much because, I mean, I love that
it's
guy.
Okay.
But when the man that you trade the heart and soul for comes out in his debut after getting chance, F.U. Porzingis, comes out and seals the game, it makes you feel a whole lot better that's what the heart and soul got you. So no shade or no disrespect to Marcus Smart. I love and trust for always. But I'll tell you what, it's easy to get over it when the big man's doing this on the road in the season opener. And
100%. I think he's the perfect big for the Celtics. I mean, I think he's the difference between the Banner 18 and another playoff exit. I mean, if he can stay healthy through the whole for a playoff run, I mean, because if you have that rotation of White, Holiday, Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, all those guys can shoot the three. So it's like, who do you cover? And you got to guard Porzingis and all the guys are. If Tatum's attacking like he did tonight, you can't cover it all.
And you know what? I'd be interested to see what the plus minus looked like. Or the net 100%. Ratings looked like when that big five was out there, because New York made their run. It was very designated run. You could tell it was when Pritchard, Hauser, and Cornette were in the game. And this is kind of a segue into the bad of this game, because there was some noticeably bad things that the Celtics have to kind of figure out here. And again, it's game one. That's normal. I'm not stressing it. However, outside of Al Horford, Pritchard gave us a little bit of juice there down late in that fourth quarter. But really, over the course of 48 minutes, outside of Al Horford, this bench is thin. Quite thin. And we knew that going into this year. And I'm starting to question whether or not Hauser and Cornette are the two guys that should be coming off the bench. They raised some red flags in the preseason. I kind of ignored them because it was preseason. I didn't ignore Cornette. But Hauser, if he's not shooting the ball at a high percentage clip, he is not worth having out there. You need to go to a guy like Brissett or Banton. So I'm interested to see how that goes. However, Cornette, I'm sure everyone I know is going to have an opinion on Luke Cornette. So just someone take the floor for me regarding Luke Cornette. Someone take it away.
Love him personally. Good dude, great teammate, great glue guy. But when you have somebody like Neemias Queta off the bench, somebody who played phenomenally in the preseason, you go with. I just feel like it's a unanimous decision if it's up between those two. Remember, this new two-way contract stuff, you can play up to 50 games in the league. It's Queta. It's game 1 out of 82. I understand that. You got to try things. You got to go different ways. If it's coming down to playing Luke Cornette and you're going for that third big man, you got to play Queta. Luke Cornette, it just doesn't do anything for me. And I don't want to disrespect the guy. I hate talking bad about Luke Cornette because there's nothing to hate of him personally. Like, he's one of the best dudes in the locker room that we've had, at least in a while. But when it comes to on-court and you're trying to win a championship, I feel like this is too big of a year to not have Luke Cornette or to have Luke Cornette as our backup big man. I hope I eat these words come June. I just don't think it's going to happen. And opening night, what I saw tonight, I did not love what I saw from Luke Cornette. When Sam Hauser, you just touch on your point on Sam Hauser, it's a little tough when Sam Hauser is not knocking down those 3-point shots, those wide open 3-point shots, right? Like, he had those performances in the preseason. I kind of sat here and was like, okay, well, don't panic. And I'm not panicking yet. But also when you're going 0 for 6, 1 for 7, and 0 for 9 or whatever the numbers are, on a lot of them are wide open. That's really rough.
So I have a question for you, Justin.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, or really for if anyone wants to answer it, but if you're Missoula and you're going Hauser in the first half and the shot's not falling, do you think that maybe in the second half you go to a guy like Brissett or Banton where it doesn't have to be that 9 or 8-man rotation? That 8th man can be kind of like, if Hauser doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. That's fine. You don't have it tonight. Go to Brissett.
Right. I think Brissett definitely gives you more. He gives you it more defensively. He can't shoot the ball at a very high clip. The problem is he's inconsistent. But good thing is I think the Celtics should use the first quarter of the season to really establish their bench and really figure out what works and what doesn't work. I think that's what's the beauty is of having a deep roster and having these guys that can slot in. Maybe even a Shvi Mikhailuk, right? Like, could he be a more consistent option if you're looking for shooting? But tonight, what I saw from Sam Hauser it was a rough debut. Let's face it, a lot of great open looks. His shot was way off. His way off is in and out or hitting the side of the rim. It's not like it's an air ball, but tonight, for Sam Hauser, it's way off. You definitely have more viable options, though, going forward. Even Lamar Stevens, we haven't seen much of him. We didn't really see much of him in the preseason either. He could give it to you on both ends of the floor, but there's options out there for Joe Mazzulla. It's early, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. We've been saying this since preseason. Luke Cornette cannot be the third center on this roster.
Absolutely.
It sucks. Because, like you say, we know how great of a guy he is, but I wouldn't necessarily call him 7 foot tall for nothing, but sometimes it kind of looks like that. I mean, it just feels like he's lost on the court, like anytime he's out on the court. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's pressure because he's now having a bigger role and he doesn't really know how to fill it, or I don't really know what it is, but it just feels like Luke Cornette is definitely not the backup center for this team and shouldn't be the backup center for this team. And, I mean, obviously it's the first game of the season, but if they don't make a move for a backup big, the Celtics are going to be, I wouldn't say in trouble in the postseason, but I would say they won't have an easy time in the postseason.
Luke Cornette is, what was the group of guys? Pritchard, the bus one guy, one crew.
Board. Yeah.
That's what he is. He's there for the journey. He's not here for all this work, man. He's not here to be playing 10 minutes a game for 82 games this season. I mean, Sam Hauser. Tonight we didn't get to see any of our other additions other than the main ones, which are Drew and Kristaps, which is a completely untapped potential for this roster. And we got to watch the preseason as most regular season fans just are here for the regular season. They're going to get a lot of new names that they're going to be introduced to as the season goes on. And it could be a new guy every night type of deal just until you throw something at the wall and it finally sticks.
Right.
Well, to me, Luke Cornett, he's not a massive problem to me just because he played 7 minutes. Well, really 8 minutes. It says 7 minutes and 60 seconds, so 8 minutes tonight. 0 of 1. I mean, obviously not really going to be stuffing the stat sheet anyway. He's really just a good positional guy, brings you some size out there. But to me, that the Celtics, looking at their entire rotation, I still believe they need another big man in the long run. I don't believe that'll be Keita either, because I believe Keita's in a spot where he's just going to be continuing to develop, and they're not really looking for him to play big playoff minutes or anything like that. But Porzingis, great shot blocker at the rim, great deterrent, but not a huge guy in the physicality department. Al Horford is more of your physical big, and he's 37, 38 right now. So to me, they do need one more guy. And to me, it's like there are a couple names out there that you could go out and grab in free agency. But to me, I believe they're looking at this right now, seeing what they can get out of this rotation with Cornett. And in the long run, I believe probably near the trade deadline, we will see another big added to the Celtics roster, whether it's in free agency or via trade, depending on how this roster shapes up throughout the season. But I don't know if I want to go on this tangent yet about the rebounding tonight, because I'm not exactly
do it.
Okay, because the rebounding tonight, it kind of connects with the whole big man situation, because you look at the Knicks, they have big players. Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, Hartenstein. Those are three very solid bigs. Right there. And rebounding tonight, throw out all the raw numbers. The raw numbers look awful. I mean, you could just look at the raw numbers. Throw out the raw numbers. Percentage-wise, we were awful tonight. Offensive rebounding, we were in the 17% range. The Knicks were at 28% almost in 17. Offensive rebounding percentage. That is outrageous. That would be amongst the league best, plus we would be amongst the league worst out of the whole season. And then you go over to defensive rebounding. They were at about a 75%. We were about 62, 63% around there. Not using exact numbers here, but just in the ballpark of where we were at. Rebounding-wise, the Knicks absolutely destroyed us on the boards tonight, and that's something the Celtics moving forward, they should be better at, because the Celtics do have some size. They have Jaylen Brown. He's 6'6". Jason Tatum, he's been touted as at most 6'10", and honestly, he did the best on the boards tonight. 11 rebounds for him. You don't really have to worry about Jason Tatum in the rebounding department. Porzingis, 8 rebounds. Holiday, he's a bigger guard. He only had 4 rebounds tonight. Derek White, bigger guard, 6 rebounds. Horford, 7. Sam Hauser, Pritchard, Cornett. Obviously not too much coming out of there, but just the whole team in general, there should be more of a rebounding presence with the size that's on the roster, just going through it. And certainly the Celtics need another big man, and that could be part of the problem. And we are facing a team with, like I said, some sizable players, Hartenstein, Randall, Mitchell Robinson tonight. But it's got to be better in that category. It starts with effort, too. It starts with effort and locking in, because if you have the physicality, you have the size, it's about the effort and actually going out and grabbing those rebounds.
Who is it? Mitchell Robinson was put on the trade block for 2 second-round picks. I know it's only opening night. It's not trade season yet. But, Seamus, would that be something the Celtics should kind of monitor that situation if that continues to be, the offer?
Well, to me, I don't really understand why they would be like. I don't know why they would be moving off of him for such a low price tag at this point, because I mean, he emits a value to the Knicks. The thing is with him is, like, you really can't do too much on the perimeter with Mitchell Robinson. And that's kind of the thing with some bigs. Like, if you really want to build a championship roster in today's NBA, you can't really have your starting center not be able to play at all on the perimeter. And Mitchell Robinson is just he's
Like
he's
a
not on the
strictly
perimeter at
down low
all.
guy.
Now,
It's a dead
could he-
breed.
yeah,
You're a dead breed. The true center, glass cleaners, as 2K would put it.
But see, like, even Robert Williams, like, comparing him to a player like Robert Williams does have some defensive
Athleticism.
perimeter ability. Like, when you switch onto Robert Williams on the perimeter, like, of course it's going to be somewhat of a mismatch, Robert Williams smaller guard, but under that circumstance, he can sort of hold his own and hope that whatever length is behind him can still go and clean it up. And for me, Mitchell Robinson, he doesn't really have the foot speed, doesn't really have what it takes to be that kind of defender on the perimeter the way, say, a Robert Williams is, even though their skill sets are somewhat similar on the offensive end of the floor and even sometimes defensively near the rim, blocking shots, just deterring shots. But to me, Mitchell Robinson is still somewhat of a valuable player. I don't know if he can be a starting center for a team that's trying to go out and win a title, trying to go out and get better like the Knicks are this season. But I still think, like, in our situation, we're talking about, like, would we take Mitchell Robinson right now? Of course. Of course we would take Mitchell Robinson right now. I mean, you're looking at Porzingis, Horford. Now, both of those guys, little injury-prone. Horford later on down the line. Now, I don't suspect them to be injured that much this season. Like, I don't think that guys are going to go and get injured. But, you know, factoring in injury history, these are guys who have had health issues. You know, they're bigger guys. Like, any guy who's near 7 foot playing basketball, you know, 82 times a year plus whatever outside of that, you know, that puts a lot of wear and tear on their body. So to me, we definitely could use a guy like Mitchell Robinson. But the Knicks, I mean, I can see why they might not want him to start and be their starting center. But at the same time, I mean, there are certainly teams who would want him for maybe more than 2 second-round picks, but then maybe not, because if that was the real offer, don't you think that he would have been traded for 2 second-round picks? I mean,
right.
It does depend, too, which second-round picks, because we do sit around and talk about second-round, first-round picks. But, you know, if you own the Bucks' first-round pick versus if you own, say, the Pistons' first-round pick, that's completely different. You're talking first overall versus 30th overall.
Isn't he on a contract year?
Yeah,
I think he's on a contract year too.
Yeah.
So
That's unrestricted free agent. Too.
Yeah, so that's another thing. But you know what? Going back to the Celtics big man thing real quick. I don't hate. I mean, all right. Cornette can suffice for the time being, but he needs to be the only big man out there. You cannot run double big man lineup with Luke Cornette. His skill set does not contribute to anything in which another big man playing beside him. The advantage about having Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis out there at the same time is that it presents size and spacing. They can both be effective and productive standing at the 3-point line, and they're threats out there. When you have Luke Cornette in the game alongside another big man, it clogs the lane. And if you are going to stretch him out wide to the 3-point line, it doesn't do much because he's not a legitimate threat out there. So teams are okay if Luke Cornette is going to be standing in the corner and knocking down threes. So if you're going to run with Luke as the only lone big man in the game, surround him with shooters, and then run a little scheme that fits Cornette in those 8 to 10 minutes he's playing. Because when I see, it's like you're setting him up for failure. And you know, I don't think he's a phenomenal basketball player, but there's a world in which it could work. And I think Mazzulla just has to find a way to get it to work. In the double big lineup with Cornette and Horford should be the last resort for the Boston Celtics. I think that's terrible.
Well, see, another thing I want to talk about is that if the Celtics are going to make a trade for another big man, it can't be a fake trade for a big man. It can't be Mike Muscala. It can't be like just one of those random big men. You just can't do that. It's not going to work. Like I said, the season is too important for the Celtics to really cheap out at this position, because if you forgot, there's about 3 or 4 big men in your conference that can dominate a game.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's just like, I understand why, like, where we're at right now, but I hope Brad Stevens' feelings for Luke Cornett doesn't clog his judgment.
And you know what bothers
the
me
team.
too, Ian? It's like, if you look at the way this roster is constructed, Giannis and Embiid, right? Those are tough guys. Obviously, in your division, you're going to have to get through them, most likely to get to the NBA Finals, at least one of the two, if not both. However, this team is constructed to be able to restrain those guys. Porzingis, Horford, Holiday, White, Brown, Tatum, all those guys I just named are terrific defenders. You do not need to run with a Luke Cornett in all situations. You can use this big, lengthy size we have on the bench, just getting coaches' decisions to not plays, right? And just embrace this 6'8" athletic, long lineup you can run. I mean, guys like Brissett, Banton, Lamar Stevens, those are guys who Jordan Walsh is a rookie. It's really not his time, right? Exactly. These are guys that can go into a game and cause havoc on the defensive end and just put body. I mean, let's take a look at the New York Knicks bench. You have Josh Hart, who's 6'5", grabbing 6 rebounds. You have Dante DiVincenzo coming off the bench, who's 6'3", 6'4" on a good day, grabbing 3 rebounds. You have Julius Randle, obviously 6'9", 6'8", grabbing 7. So, grabbing 11 rebounds. There's a world in the NBA which height doesn't equal a good rebounder. It's an effort thing. It's a team effort thing. And the Celtics have the athleticism and they have the bodies to be a good rebounding basketball team. So it's going to be frustrating, I think, to just see Luke Cornett in the game because it makes sense and he's big and tall. When I feel like this team has so many, it's like a Swiss Army knife. There's so many ways you can go.
Right.
It should be a really good sign if we're seeing Luke Cornett in the game. He should be coming in after Geno time plays, and it's a 25-point lead, and we're getting Jordan Walsh out there and just getting the guys who are sitting on the bench dressed some time on the court. But other than that, there's going to have to be some responses, and I really think they can look internally. And who knows, maybe they are waiting to work in Keita, but it would be pretty drastic to start moving him into the 10-15 minute range just yet. But you can, like Rob said, the wings can step up in the
absolutely
rebounding position, because look at I believe Tatum was our leading rebounder tonight with 11.
Right, and you know what? The starters sorry, Jack, real quick. The starters did a good job. I mean, 6 from Brown, 11 from Tatum, 8 from Porzingis, 4 from Holiday, 6 from White, 7 from Horford. Good. My problem, Hauser 2, Pritchard 1, Cornett 1. Jack, sending it over to you, bud.
Yeah, I'm fine with Cornett for now, but if he plays in the playoffs, that's just going to be pitiful. I mean, he's just going to get killed dude, imagine him going against Giannis or Joel Embiid. Holy shit, dude. That would be like crazy.
You know what Jack sounds like? Jack,
dude, that would be terrible. Dude, that's 3 points.
Jack sounds like a Felger.
Dude, that's 3 points. Dude,
I wouldn't take that personally, Jack. I would not take that.
Justin, I mean,
not here, Jack. Not here.
Didn't I see?
Not here.
We'll get Jack a soundtrack every time he comes on. Like a
Jack's fist under the table right now. It's just like
it's either there or at Applebee's. One of the two. I don't know where.
This guy, bro. I was gonna say not here. Justin.
all right. Finish your thought. What you got for us?
How about those?
But anyway, I mean, the guy can't. The guy is like, I mean, dude, Chris Middleton takes it up on him, bro. I mean, that's crazy, bro. Like, he could, I mean, he can't stop shit. I'm just saying.
Hard-hitting analysis there, Jack.
Yeah. I'm just
You
saying.
know what? We sat here for 46 minutes trying to break this game down, and Jack just perfectly summed it up in 20 seconds. He can't defend shit. I love that.
I mean, dude,
I love
how are
it. You
like
said it, man.
forwards?
I
How
wouldn't.
are forwards and like guards taking it to the rack on him? Like that's like it's crazy to me. Then that's your like, and that's what he's like supposed to be on the floor for is like rim protection and rebounding,
and you know
he
what?
can't even do that.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like bad to say, and I don't
like-
think it is. But if you watched Hartenstein tonight, he was super aggressive, right? Like,
Yeah,
maybe a
no,
little
I
too
talked
much,
shit about him,
but
and
like,
yeah.
but like almost like I kind of want Cornette to go in there and he kind of be an aggressor, dude. Like use your size, like
Yeah.
maybe like maybe throw your like not nothing dirty, but like just bang players up a little bit.
No, but that's the thing, and that's exactly why. That's not the
I don't
whole
know.
reason. But that's one of
I
the
don't
reasons
know.
why I think Kata. What are you doing? What
This
are
shit,
you doing?
no, Justin,
Am I
it's
delayed,
lagging.
or are you just talking over
Justin,
me every second?
no, I'm not. It's lagging for me. I'm not talking
Of
over
course
you.
it is. You look like a creeper from Minecraft.
I'm wearing a, just what are you saying?
This is why I think I liked what I saw from Kata in the preseason, because when Kata came in, he was throwing his body around, he was getting rebounds, boxing out, the physicality was up. I agree with you, Jack. You don't get that from Luke Cornette, and that's the main reason why he goes into the game. One of the main reasons why. I think he's solid in the high pick and roll. We didn't really see much of that. He kind of caught the ball tonight. I don't know if you guys noticed this. He caught the ball on the elbow, and he was wide open, and he looked at the basket and made a business decision and kind of quickly turned around to hand it off. I would love him to take, like, if he could shoot that. I don't know if you guys remember, but when he was in New York and he was in Chicago, he was shooting that shot. He was shooting those 3-point shots. His game has just totally changed, and I agree with you, Jack. I mean, he's in there he's supposed to be in there when you're a big guy. He's supposed to rough shit up. He ain't doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's gonna play you can't play in the playoffs if you play scared 24/7 like he does.
Right.
Yeah,
and
Absolutely.
I mean, he just
Especially because we love this double big lineup so much, where it's not like you're like swapping Horford and Porzingis, where it's like, all right, first sub, sure, Al comes in for Drew, and then they play 2 minutes of double big, and then Porzingis goes out. It's kind of like I saw a lot. Obviously, things are going to change, right? This game 1 could be completely different by game 20, rotation wise. But I feel like Joe loves the double big so much that if you're gonna love the double big so much, then you need a backup center. If you're gonna not do double big, then it's fine. Let's roll with Luke for the time being, see how it goes. Come playoff time, even still, you just gotta pray for no injury, because if there's an injury, we're screwed.
What's kind of ironic is that Joe Mazzulla hated running the double big last year when it came to Robert Williams.
Right.
But when it comes to Luke Cornette and Porzingis and Horford, like, that's the double big that they want to run. I really hope this isn't something Brad Stevens is telling Joe Mazzulla to do, because there's no way that you would rather run a double big lineup with Luke Cornette than run one with Robert Williams. It just makes no sense to
I'm
me.
hoping and praying that it was matchup based, and that's how it will be. But again, we'll have to wait and see. With that being said, though, we will have to wait and see. And guys, you know what's so exciting? I was thinking about this today. We got Celtics basketball 4 times a week, baby. We get to watch this team almost every single night, and they're going to be so fun to watch. However, the Boston Celtics pull out a 108-104 victory on the road at MSG in what was a phenomenal season opener. How about Kristaps Porzingis, guys? 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 blocks, 5 made 3-pointers. He shushed the Madison Square Garden crowd quite fast, I'd say. How about Jason Tatum? 34 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. I'm sorry. JT was doing his thing. Celtics will be playing a Eastern Conference Finals rematch Friday, October 27th. That is the home opener. Tip-off is at 7:30. You can watch that on either NBC Sports Boston and or ESPN. Post-game show will be catch our post-game show information on our Instagram. Guys, before we close out the show, any last thoughts, remarks, comments, anything?
Yes, I have one thing, and I want to single this out. I know he doesn't like all this attention, but I want to welcome Seamus back, the guy underneath me right now.
Hey.
I'm going to tell you right now, I started covering the Celtics around the same time as Seamus, and Seamus has become a close friend of mine for the last nearly 8 years. And, I know, Seamus was going through some stuff behind the scenes, but he's been working his ass off. He's been, doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And now that he's back and seeing him on the post-game show, I think that's just everything that we ever need to hear. And, welcome back, Seamus. I just wanted to shout Seamus out before we head out here.
Show feels complete, right? It's like,
the
boys are back now. The boys are back.
And we're not shutting this show down until we get a Seamus guarantee. I don't care what it's about, but we need to bring back the Seamus.
It's only
guarantee.
right. Seamus, let me hear it. Celtics Heat. What's happening?
Celtics Heat. Well, first of all, wait. Can we do a deep dive into this game before I make a guarantee? I can't make a guarantee.
all right.
Without doing a little bit of a like research, like some situational analysis about what exactly is the factor in this game. First of all, the Heat. I feel like it's weird. Like they should be better than last year because they kind of underachieved last year, but at the same time they didn't really get better. But this game is on Friday, which to me, I think it's a good thing that this game is on Friday night, like before the night, because the guarantee that I'm making here is that the Celtics, who now do they play on Saturday? Do they play on Saturday?
They don't play till like Tuesday.
They play Tuesday.
Yeah, it's like a 3 or 4 day break. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my
Against
goodness!
the Wizards,
So wait,
right?
the Celtics play Friday night at 6:30 in Miami and do not play again until
they play
Tuesday.
at home.
Well, here's my
Monday.
guarantee.
Monday they play in Washington. So yeah, they get Saturday, Sunday off.
Here's my guarantee, all right? The Celtics are going to have some fun in Miami on Friday because after they beat the Miami Heat, they're going out on the town and we're going to need some DDs everywhere. Everywhere. All right? Get them. O'Shea Brissett, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. We're getting Cornette a DD too. Everybody getting a DD because we going out on
Shots
Friday
on Brown's
night,
new contract.
Get a win against the Heat.
Sir, yes,
That's my guarantee.
sir, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love that. Garden, I'm gonna guarantee something. I know it's not.
Terrible gambler.
Terrible gambler. I can guarantee something. There's one thing I can guarantee.
Gambled his tuition
in the TD Garden. The one thing I can guarantee is that the TD Garden is going to be absolutely.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be
rocking.
crazy.
I'm getting
Holy
into the
shit,
stadium. Like I want to be around the stadium during the day, like a 1 o'clock.
Oh yeah,
Jack's for sure getting in. He has the secret ways in.
Yeah. Justin, you're coming, right?
Me and Jack will get lost in the streets together again.
All right, boys.
The St. Patty's.
Thank you so much
hang
for.
Hang on.
All right, let me hear.
Oh, what's up with Ian?
Well, first off, shout out Grant Williams. He's kind of locking up Wembanyama right now.
Who cares?
Which is kind of crazy.
Let's go.
Also, prayers to everyone in Lewiston, Maine right now.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Wild situation going on.
Oh,
So
facts, 100%.
Why?
prayers up to everyone that's affected in that. Sorry to kill the vibe of the podcast.
No, you're good. Absolutely. We wish we said nothing but prayers and love from New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Seamus, Illinois as well. Illinois, for all over. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining us in. We're gonna have you guys. Actually, you know what? Friday post game show.
We'll
Not
figure it
official,
out.
but don't expect one. Don't expect one Friday.
If Jack's running,
unfortunately.
we're
Justin, you're
But,
lagging. Your
again-
Wi-Fi sucks.
Jack.
Again, we keep you guys all updated on the Instagrams. So go over there. If there is a post game show, it will be posted. If there's not, it will be posted. Thank you so much, guys.